Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about Donald Trump. Yes, we all have our opinions of the Donald. For some of you, he's the best president America has ever had. For others, he's the one who's going to destroy the country. But what do I think about Donald Trump and what should we really think about Donald Trump? Donald Trump is nonetheless one of the most decisive people in the world right now, and he should be because he's the US president. And as we all know, the US president can't sneeze without people criticizing what he does with a napkin, as an example. So, what do I think about him? I think Donald Trump is misjudged, and but in a way that is sort of relevant, but at the same time, he's and just hear me out here. Donald Trump is probably one of the best presidents America has had in a long time. He's better than Bush, he's better than Clinton, and he's better than Obama for all the wrong reasons. And in this video, I'm going to explain why. Let's look at the world today. The world today, the world we're living in, is being bombarded by a series of issues from Brexit to Trump, the guy himself, to economy, to automation, to youth employment, to a lot of other stuff. And a lot of this stuff has been building over a very long period of time. Like, a lot of people were saying, oh, Donald Trump has just been elected out of nowhere. Not true. A lot of the factors and a lot of the stuff that resulted in Donald Trump being president had been built up over the past decades. It included massive deregulation of the US economy, the outsourcing of jobs in the 1990s, the continued dominance of corporations in Washington, which made a lot of people feel uh, like the government didn't care about them, which is true. A lot of towns that got screwed over when factories and coal mines started closing because there weren't any jobs, and a lot of people who lived off welfare with no future, no hope, and no way out. So a lot of those factors contributed to the rise of Donald Trump. And in fact, Donald Trump was actually able to exploit a group of people that a lot of mainstream politicians could never do, which was um, Alex Jones. He actually don't like. I think Alex Jones is a nutcase, and he needs to be psychologically evaluated. But at the same time, Donald Trump used Alex Jones's millions of views to his own advantage, and it paid off. Donald Trump won the presidency handsomely because I think what you have to understand with Trump is that Donald Trump kind of decapitated himself, as horrible as it is to say, but Hillary Clinton died by 1,000 small wounds. So with Hillary Clinton's campaign, I think it was really the perfect storm of bad stuff happening. In fact, I think she kind of wanted the presidency so badly to the point where she didn't really know what she didn't really listen to any of her advisors. In fact, I think people just rolling with it and hoping for the best, like even Obama. And I think Obama was kind of sidelined by his own people to just, you know what, I've got just a few more months left on the job. I really don't care anymore. I think that's the kind of attitude Obama had towards the end. So, anyways, back on track. The reason why I think Donald Trump is the best president America's had for all the wrong reasons is because he's tackling issues that have been building up for decades, but no one no one really seemed to care about them because they were either too unpopular or they were just too politically incorrect. So what I mean by that is, let's start with the first issue that Donald Trump is attempting to tackle, which is immigration. Immigration, as you all know, is the defining feature of the 2016 election, and build the wall. Yeah, that's right, build the wall. But if this was a story and if the wall was a metaphor, it would be some kind of barrier to protect the city on top of the hill. So I think so. First, with immigration, Donald Trump, I think, is tackling in a way where he's trying to overhaul the entire system, but he's doing it in a way that's unenlightened, to put it politely. Now, because I think there's a strong misconception about the way the U.S. handles immigration, the way people are being processed and stuff like that. Like, one does not simply immigrate to America. It's one of the hardest countries to get in. Heck, even if you're European or even from the UK, you can't just get a plane ticket and just go start working and living there. No, there's a massive process. Heck, uh, American immigration outside is so restricted to the point that where they even have a lottery. So bringing in people outside of America isn't easy, and because immigration is such a divisive issue, they've made it not easy. But the problem is, it's the media that's kind of just gouging up. Look at those immigrants taking out jobs and stuff like that by the right-wing media, which is kind of true, but at the same time, it's not. With jobs is the main answer, and for a lot of people, a lot of those jobs that immigrants are taking, they're not the kind of jobs that a lot of people want to do, like truck drivers or working in McDonald's or wherever. So that's one side of the immigration. Another side is the massive undocumented immigration crisis America has. Now, the thing about that you have to understand is America, like the UK, has, I would say, an archaic system in terms of uh, how IDs work, and I think, and that has to do with the fact that it's sort of a fear of being controlled by uh, being controlled by what you call it, like the government, because people have fear of that. So a proper ID system per se was never implemented. That's why it's easy for children of illegal immigrants to attend schools in America, get healthcare and stuff like that, because state laws kind of prevent sharing information and so on. So that's why you really see that kind of thing happening. So I think the way Donald Trump is going at it, he's finally tackling this issue, but he's tackling it in the wrong way now. That's what I meant. So the other issue Donald Trump is tackling is the way the economy works and how what you might call them are should be negotiated, like free trade agreements should be negotiated. Right. Before we actually dive into the whole economy conundrum, let's actually understand how the U.S. economy works. And think of it this way: the U.S. has the largest economy in the world, which is true, but it's also a very socialist economy, and it's also quite a, I would say, a protectionist in a way, and I'll explain how. Uh, as the US is the world's only superpower, right, as of 2019, it's able to set trends and it's also able to influence different stuff. So, and what I mean by that is like a lot of copyright that happens of the world, like the copyright protection laws, are coming from the US, since US companies are quite picky about their copyright products, and there is a like it's their products after all, since it's their intellectual property. So the US can influence a lot of countries to do that, to have more copyright laws. So for example, to make sure illegal streaming websites don't work, to have a pinch on like have a pinch on the way they get money as well. So for example, PayPal is a US company, so the US can influence the global financial system that way. At the same time, and what I meant by the US being a socialist country, in that it's kind of like dominated by government corporation controlled entities like Boeing, like General Motors, etc., etc. So they're not exactly socialist per se, but they're blended into the US government to the point where it's kind of becoming really hard to see where the government is and where corporations are. And you can clearly see that in terms of contractors and contracts, with them becoming really complicated. And as more and more jobs are being taken over contracts, so a lot of people who work in like government jobs are getting laid off, and you can clearly see that in a lot of places, and especially uh, what you call it, the government shutdown right now. So I reckon I'm probably somewhere in Washington right now. A Republican guy is probably gonna get the idea, hey, why don't we privatize the TSA? And they're probably gonna do that. That's what's gonna happen. So that's what I meant by socialist. But at the same time, welfare in the US, and especially elderly welfare, like people retired over 65, is critical, because a lot of those people vote for Republicans all the time. They are consistent Republican voters. And unlike millennials and other age groups, they always show up at the polls. So they're very reliant on those people. So they will always vote for that. So in terms of Donald Trump will probably try and tackle that the economy by accelerating really the corporations taking over the government. And as more and more time, it's going to become harder to have anti-monopoly laws. It's going to become harder to enforce labor laws. It's going to become harder to do all of that stuff. So you can clearly see how I meant in the sense that he is tackling the issue, but in the wrong way. And what I mean by that is he's able to do it because he doesn't care about the details, so his advisors can literally do whatever the heck they want. And also, he doesn't have the same political correctness as other politicians do, so he can do whatever the heck he wants, and he is Teflon Don. And what I mean by that is he's immune to criticism, and it is true. It doesn't matter how many outrageous things he can do. He could literally kill a guy in 10th Avenue and get away with it because he can, because like he's got a strong base of supporters, and it's true. Like Donald Trump can still get reelected in 2020 and still uh, uh, not win the popular vote. It doesn't matter because he's always got his base, and also in terms of negotiating free trade deals like NAFTA, Donald Trump didn't really renegotiate NAFTA per se. A lot of it was just theatrics, with a few stuff being added and removed, since no one really is going to actually renegotiate NAFTA because it's a good deal for all those corporations and all those governments. It really is. So that's what I meant in terms of the economy. So he's actually tackling all of those issues, but he's not doing anything that benefits ordinary people. And the third and the last thing that Donald Trump is doing as president, which is kind of good but in the wrong direction, is culture and stuff like that, since culture is becoming really important as there's a lot of disenfranchised groups. So the way he's dealing with it is like, oh, your side is wrong, your side is wrong. He's pointing out the obvious feelings in different groups, but he's not actually offering any answers. So to conclude this whole video, I would say Donald Trump is, again, I reiterate my point, he's the best president in a long time, since he's actually tackling those issues, but he's tackling them in the wrong way. And I'm not saying this from a left-wing or a right-wing perspective. He's actually passing, like the whole government shutdown is affecting the US, since it's affecting things like food supplies, like food inspections, like TSA, like since a lot of people, like the thing that you understand people is they want to do their jobs properly unless they're getting paid. So we can clearly see that having an effect, and another long-term effect that this is like his shutdown has set a precedent since what's stopping the next Democratic president from declaring global warming to be a national security threat uh, or healthcare or wherever. So you can clearly see that he's done a lot of, but I think at the end of the day, Donald Trump's most important achievement is getting people to take politics seriously again, which didn't really happen a lot under Obama, because, for example, uh, in the previous election, this was the highest turnout for a midterm in 40 years. So you can clearly see there is some good happenings. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you in another video.